Hello, and welcome to McKinney Vento Homeless Training for Teachers and School Staff. The purpose of this training is to provide school staff with information regarding this federal law. Often, when we think of the term homeless, we think of a similar picture such as this: no home, no money, no job, helpless and hungry. Unfortunately, the term homeless is associated with a negative stigma which leads families to try to hide their situation because they are ashamed and embarrassed. We encouraged educators and staff to use the terms in transition, highly mobile, or McKinney Vento eligible to be sensitive to these family situations. The McKinney Vento law is both a federal and a state law. It defines the term homeless much differently than the stereotype. It defines McKinney Vento eligible children and youth to be those who lack a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. Let's dig a little deeper into each of these three identifiers. Fixed means a residence that is stationary, permanent, and not subject to change nor easily moved. Living in an RV or car would not be classified as fixed since they are easily moved. So the student living in this RV would qualify as being McKinney Vento eligible. Regular, it means a residence that is used on a regular basis. If this teenager has been kicked out of his home and is couch surfing, staying with various friends, then he would be considered McKinney Vento eligible. Also, a child that makes several moves in a short period of time would also be eligible. Adequate. An adequate residence is one that is sufficient for meeting both the physical and psychological needs, typically met in home environments. This would include situations of overcrowding with too many people for the square footage. Homes with inadequate heating, electricity, plumbing, running water, and even bug infestations would also be eligible. If a family's home has been hit by a disaster like a fire or flood, there are no income guidelines. This family is considered McKinney Vento eligible. The families that tend to be fairly easy to identify might be sleeping in a tent or in a shelter, sleeping at a motel, or staying at any place that isn't designated for people to reside in, such as a laundromat. Families that are harder to identify are the ones that are doubled up or couch surfing. Families are often staying with friends or other family members because they cannot afford a place of their own. Teens who have left their homes for whatever reason other than educational advantage, those who may be hopping from place to place or staying with a friend or relative are unaccompanied youth and McKinney Vento eligible. So why is identifying these students important? Because we cannot serve and support these students if we don't know who they are. It is both a federal and a state law. Identifying students does affect the funding that will come to your school district, and that funding will in turn help support these families. So what can you do? Listen and look for clues from students because often they will try to hide that they are in transition. Are you noticing that a student is coming to school early to use the locker room to shower? Did you overhear a student mention that he or she is not living at home? Are there students wearing the same clothes every day? Are they telling you that their home has issues? For example, no running water or electricity? Are there many people living in the same home or apartment? If so, pass on this information to your district homeless liaison so they can gather more information and decide whether a student is McKinney Vento eligible. Above all, we want to offer support without judgment. Once students are identified as McKinney Vento eligible, what is the school's responsibility? Enroll immediately, even without all necessary enrollment documents. All fees must be waived. Students must get free lunch and breakfast, ensure access to all services, including Title I services, sports, and extracurricular activities. Connect students to services they might need, such as tutoring and counseling. Provide transportation to school of origin if requested by a caregiver, and assist the family getting all the necessary paperwork. Preschool-age children get priority placement in preschool programs. Assist high schoolers to make sure they are on track for graduation and assist older students with college and career goals. The goal is to remove all barriers to education created by homelessness. What are the caregiver and student rights? The student is allowed to attend the school of origin, which is the school the child or youth was attending when he or she became McKinney Vento eligible, or the student may attend the school where they were last enrolled, or the student may attend the school district in which he or she is now residing. School officials can have discussions with caregivers on what is in the best interest of the child. However, ultimately, it is the caregiver's choice where their child attends. Here are some noteworthy facts to keep in mind. Custody does not need to be awarded by the court for enrollment. Parents do not need to sign guardianship documents for the student to be enrolled. An unaccompanied youth can register without a parent. Once a student is McKinney Vento eligible, they remain identified as McKinney Vento eligible for the entire school year, even if they obtain a fixed, regular, and adequate residence during the year. A student's McKinney-Vento eligibility status must be treated as a confidential school record as FERPA laws apply. In closing, it is important to remember when a child's world is turned upside down, the only stable thing they may have left is school. We want to provide a nurturing and supportive environment for the student. You may contact your local liaison for assistance at 830-643-5736 or mbisdsafe-t.org.